Hi everybody, my name's Michelle and I'm MommaLovesYouGB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is the 71st morning briefing and it is also Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. I'm actually filming this on the Wednesday previous. As I said on my last FlossTube, I am away this week. I'm currently actually in Bolton on the Water. As you know, or many of you will know, my mum lives in the Cotswolds, and it's actually a halfway point. I'm heading up to Newcastle because Nessie's grandparents live in Newcastle, just outside Newcastle, and actually it's just as easy to come to mum's and then to go up than it is to try and snake your way across Wales and try and get out at the top of Wales. So that's what we always do. We always split the journey, come here for the night and then head up in the morning. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's why I'm not filming my FlossTube on my normal Saturday. I've got some interesting things to show you. I haven't got a massive amount of stitching because obviously it's only Wednesday for me, but I have got some other interesting things and things that I hope you'll find exciting to hear about. So I'm just going to take a little look and see where I am. So thank you very much to all my new subscribers and to those people who bought me a coffee last week. Thank you very much, it's very much appreciated. I had lots and lots of people last week congratulating me on my sampler wall, and there were a few people who had said, but we're not on social media, can you put it in your video so that we can see your sampler wall? And so yes, of course I can. I had intended to do it last week and I just kind of forgot to put it on the end of the video. So I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to put up the picture of the little video clip that I took of my sampler wall, and I hope that you will enjoy it. I hope you also managed to just maybe even get a glimpse of the light fittings that actually gave me the electrical shock last week. In fact, it wasn't the one you can see, it's the one at the other end of the corridor that I had trouble with. That, yeah, gave me a proper belt. But there we go, all is well, and I should have known better. So, in the Cotswolds, and I have been stitching on one thing since I last showed you, and it is actually Anita from Northumberland Sampler House, Fault, because she had seen my video or commented on a Facebook post, potentially, not Facebook, the other one, Instagram post, and she'd reminded me that she's running a competition for anybody who posts finishes of Caroline Scott, and I'm going to have to check the other two, Jane Bennett or Elizabeth Tassel, before Easter Sunday, that they're going to be entered into a competition. So I was like, well, that's a challenge, that's marching orders accepted. So I decided that I was going to try and get Caroline Scott finished in time to post, to say that I finished it before Easter Sunday. So I've actually put in all my time and effort into Caroline Scott, and she is coming along remarkably well. So I am really super pleased with how she is going. So my big areas that I've got to work on, I'm just checking because I just nearly put it down on a ballpoint pen. No, I'm good, I'm all good. So my big areas that I need to work on are, I've got to put in the grouting, it's not grouting is it? The bits between the bricks, and it's not called grouting, I can't think what it's called. Pointing? The pointing between the bricks. Some of it's done, some of it's not done. It's roughly the same colour as my fabric, so you probably won't be able to tell. I've got to finish the border, which actually I was a bit nervous of the border, but once you get into it, it's okay. It's not even necessarily, but there is a bit of a rhythm to it, so that's okay. I've got to finish my fence along the bottom and put the dog in, and then I've just got to finish the sort of doodads around in the border, the red in the border, and her name. So just a heads up for anybody who is stitching Caroline Scott, I'm stitching her on 32 count that I hand dyed myself, and I started with one skein of each of the colours, and I think I'm going to be okay with one skein of the colours except for the 371. I had to pop and get a new skein of 371 today from the little craft shop in the village as I ran out. So if you are thinking of starting her, and why wouldn't you, because she's gorgeous, then grab yourself 2 skeins of 371. And the other amazing thing is I think I have a vintage frame that she will fit in. I did a quick offer up before I left this morning, and I think she will fit. I think she's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Always have done, and so glad that Anita gave me that bit of push just to get on with her and get her done. Of course it means I'm behind with everything else, but then never mind. I'm trying to get more done on my Year in the Woods. I'm trying to get more done on my 12 Days of Christmas, but it's not happening at the minute because I want to get this done. I'm trying to work out what I'm going to take with me up to Northumberland. I'm definitely going to take a Year in the Woods, but I think I'm going to try and take something else that's a little bit bigger as well, because a Year in the Woods is 36 count. And I remember last year I was a bit unsure as to what the light would be like in the bedroom that I was staying in, and then I was very pleased when I got there that it was not light. So that was amazing. Sorry, I've still got this little cough. But I think I'm going to take 2 or 3 things just in case I can't get a good look at the Year in the Woods one. So anyway, I have loved doing that. The other thing I thought that you might like to see is I've showed you the village before, Bourton on the Water, and I was actually in the village earlier on, and I just took a little bit more video, so I thought you would like to see. It's called the Venice of the Cotswolds because it's got a river running through it. That is all you need to become the Venice of the Cotswolds, a river running through it. So I've taken a little bit of a footage. There's a few people around, although it's not as busy as it can be on a summer's day. On a summer's day you can't see any of the grass between where I'm stood and the river. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you a little bit, and I've actually got some footage of another Cotswold village to show you in a minute, and I will tell you why, because that's quite exciting. I thought I'd do here my freebies. Now, I've got a lady called Karen to thank for setting me off on the path of one of these freebies. And then whilst I was on this particular website downloading the freebie that I was going to show you, I found 3 other designs in the same format, and I just thought the format was so cute that I would share it with you. So excuse me, I've shared Pinker and Pumpkin Blogspot with you lots and lots of times before, and Melisa always comes up with just these really nice, interesting little ideas, and she came up with this one, which is called Sheep Jar. Now, these are freebies that you can go and stitch, and I will put a picture of the stitched version up there, and I hope Melissa won't mind me pinching her picture just to show you what it looks like. But the idea is that these are in mason jars. So that is the sheep one. And she has done a bunny one as well. So this is the bunny one. Obviously it comes with the threads. Now the bunny I think's got a few corrections. So make sure when you go to the blog that you take a good account of what's written there as well, because there's a few corrections there. So that's the bunny one. And then whilst I was looking, I also found an autumn one, which is that one. And I found a winter one, which is the snowman in the jar. Now I think those are lovely. I think those are really, really good ideas. So go along, show her some love. She's on Instagram as well, so I'll link all that down below. And they're all free, so you can go along and have a look through. Go back through her blog as well. She does so many interesting things, not just cross stitch. She does quilting, she does other types of embroidery. Really, really interesting blog spot to look through. So go and have a look at those jars. Right, now I have a new sampler. I have a new antique sampler, and this is just the most incredible coincidence. I think it's the most incredible coincidence. And this lady put the sampler up for sale on eBay, and it was collection only from London, and I want to say Wanstead. I can't remember exactly, but I want to say Wanstead. And so I loved her, absolutely loved her, and I watched her go through, and she didn't sell. And so I messaged the lady and I said, I really do like that sampler. Would you consider posting? And she came back and she said, no, I really don't want to post. You know, she's in a frame. I don't want to take her out of the frame. Yeah, no, I'm not up to posting. And so just as a little throwaway reply, I just said to her, I don't suppose you ever come to the Cotswolds or to West Wales, do you? Just as a total random throwaway. And ever since I saw this sampler on eBay, I just knew in my bones that she would be mine. And so the lady came back, and this was on Monday, maybe. And she said, funny you should mention that. She said, we're going to be in Chipping Campden on Wednesday and Thursday night. Is that any good to you? Now, Chipping Campden is about 15 miles away from Bourton. And of all of the places she could have gone, and of all of the time frames that she could have been here, she was here when I was here. And I just found that it absolutely blew me away. Now, when she gave me the name of the hotel, and I've got to look it up here because I always get this one wrong, it's called the Three Ways House Hotel. And the hotel is actually in a place called Mickleton, which is the next village over from Chipping Campden. The postal address is Chipping Campden because Chipping Campden's a little bit bigger. And it's the home of the famous Pudding Club. If you've ever heard of the Pudding Club, that's where it is, in Mickleton. And so I went this evening, actually. I met her just for a few minutes, just before her and her partner, or husband, and their friends were going in for dinner. And I got the chance to chat to her, and she was such a lovely lady. And she was telling me she's got quite a few samplers, and she just decided that this one, she needed to let this one go. And so we were having a little chat backwards and forwards and stuff, and she was so lovely, so lovely. So I'm going to show you her, and you can see probably why I love her. So she's in a frame. We need to pay a little bit of attention to the back of the frame. The back of the frame has more gaffer tape on it than you would probably like on an antique sampler, but it is holding the original back on. So now this is going to be quite a lot of glare because I've got the big light on, and you'll probably be able to see my mum's dining room table, which is invariably used as a sewing table. So if I stop waffling, you'll be able to see. So let me just rest her there, and I'll show you some of the things, about her. There we go. So the things I liked were these kind of horn of plenties with the fruit basket. So instead of just being a normal basket, sorry, I'm waving it about there like Blair Witch Project. Instead of being just a normal basket, it's almost got the horn of plenty. And then it's got all of these beautiful pink and cream flowers and these little trees at the bottom, and then the borders have got big daisy flowers and these type flowers which always remind me of carnations. I don't know whether it's a carnation border. And this is by Matilda Chubb, and she stitched this or worked this sampler in the year 1825. So there is a little bit of four-sided stitch that she's used there. That's the dog barking. Probably heard a mouse fart. And then there's a little bit of satin stitch just on the base of the vase of flowers there with the two trees either side. And then as far as speciality stitches go, that is it. We've got some birds, we've got some, just checking you can see it, that I'm not just lost in this sampler by myself. Some baskets of flowers, a couple of crowns. So I've had a look and potentially I can find her, but I'm not 100% sure. The reason that I'm not 100% sure is because these early samplers, so this was stitched in 1825, so in all likelihood she probably stitched it when she was maybe 15, I don't know, somewhere around there. So we're going to be looking at a birthday around 1810, somewhere around there, plus or minus a few years. And it becomes very difficult before 1841. It's the luck of the draw before 1841, unless you go to the original sources, because there was no census. The first census was 1841. So by that time our Matilda is probably going to be married, and will have lost the train of the name. It's not impossible. Like I say, there are, I think, two candidates, two Matilda Chubbs who were born roughly around the time that I would expect, and not actually others. So I think it is down to these two, but I'll need to do a little bit more work to try and see if I can narrow it down a little bit. It says on the stitch, it says, excuse me, learn to contemn all praise betimes. For flattery is the nurse of crimes, with early virtue plant thy breast, the spacious arts of vice detest. Now, I think that should be specious arts of vice detest. I've looked at the quote and I've got an idea of what it is and where it comes from, but I'm literally only had 5 minutes to just quickly plug it into Google. So that is Matilda, and I am very, very pleased to have her in my collection. I think she's absolutely beautiful, and like I said, I just knew, as soon as I kind of saw her, I just knew she was coming to me. So while I was in Chipping Camden, I took some more video because I thought you might like to see another Cotswold village. Now, I think that Chipping Camden actually is probably one of the prettiest towns. I think it's because it's got the thatched cottages, and the thatched cottages do it for me. If you're looking for a sort of typical kind of chocolate box town, I think Chipping Camden's one of the ones that are up there. And so I have taken some more footage, so I'm going to put that in now. The other thing that you might be interested to know about with Chipping Camden is it has a very old games called Dover's Hill Games, and started by a guy called Robert Dover, or the hill's named after him anyway, and it was a form of an Olympics, and one of the events that it's famous for is shin kicking. So you may have seen it before. It quite often appears on things like Countryfile and whatever. And so the idea is that you would stuff straw down the front of your socks, and then you would have a shin kicking contest in your hobnail boots. And it is as awful as it sounds, but they still do it to this day, normally on the Friday before the Whitsun holiday. So it's coming up very soon. And then one of the best parts about it is it's right up on the hill above Chipping Campden, and then everybody buys these torches. So like the big kind of candle torches, wax torches, and they're about 1 metre long, half a metre long. And then you light your torch from the bonfire, and there's this big, huge parade in the dark down into Chipping Campden, down off Dover's Hill. And if you get yourself in the middle of the parade, you look, and all you can see in front of you is flaming torches, and all you can see behind you is flaming torches. And it's just, it's so, so special. And you come down into Chipping Campden, and by that time, it takes probably about a mile and a half, and by that time most of the torches have gone out. But when you come into Chipping Campden, there's still quite a few torches going, and there's a lot of thatched buildings, particularly down that end of the town. And so there's all these really nervous people stood outside their very, very posh houses with all these people with flaming torches walking past their thatch, and they actually erect these kind of scaffolding to try and keep you away from the thatch, for obvious reasons. But it is incredible. If you ever get the chance to go or to look it up or whatever, check out Dover's Hill Games, because it's very fun. And that's the new sampler. I have a tiny little bit of haul to share with you. Firstly, some threads. I'll show you these ones first. These ones are for the Thirza Kogut chart that I showed you last week, that I have decided to do from her Patreon. And it's the one about the birds and the cherries, so I'll put a picture of it up in the corner so you can see what it looks like. And it requires 4 skeins of Weeks Dye Works kudzu, a whiskey, and a crimson, plus other DMCs as well. So I just got the specialty threads for that one. And then these ones are the ones that I told you that I had bought. And so, oops. They don't want to play ball, these little cards. Which one's folded over? Come on, which one's causing me the problem? There. These ones are all the remaining speciality threads for A Year in the Woods. So some of them required 2, and I've found that because I'm using 36 count but I'm doing 2 strands, where it has said I've needed 2, I have needed 2. So 2 strands of carrot. Now I can't remember which ones these go with, but all the information is on the Cottage Garden Samplings website. 3 of coal, a hazelnut, a mocha, a grits, a bright leaf, a pecan, ooh, another hazelnut and another mocha, pelican grey, 2 molasses, and 2 charcoals. So that is finished with the speciality flosses now. So I wanted to get those in hand because there's always a little bit of a shortage, particularly of the ones that they want to suggest, because of course everybody's looking for them. And I treated myself. I had to go and get 1 skein of the 371. Now one does not simply go into a lovely craft shop and come out with 1 skein of DMC. So they had these Emma Bridgewater tins, and I have to admit I'm not the biggest fan of Emma Bridgewater. I like her stuff, I can totally appreciate it, but I've never needed it. I needed this one because it says needles, thread, pins, and scissors, and a lovely hinged tin for keeping all my goodies in. So I was super happy to get that. Anyway, I'll be back to normal next week, as normal as I ever am, and I'll see you then. Stay classy, Stitchers.